Hi, everyone. Hi, namaskar. So many familiar faces, so many new, fresh faces. Welcome to We the Women. Before I start the day's fabulous proceedings, I just want all of us to put our hands together for the fabulous girls we just heard on stage. And I have only one other request. I know the United Kingdom and the British community is known for its stiff upper lip and its quality of understatement. But just for today, we're going to drop that. And we are going to be fully desi. What this actually means is, if you like something on stage, clap, cheer, whistle, dance in the stands. I mean it. Dance in the stands. Really, don't hesitate to show your love, because you're going to be seeing fabulous men and women on this stage, and I think they need to both see and feel your appreciation. Let me start by expressing mine. Give a round of applause to yourself. I know all of you have fantastic stories. We're going to try and make this as interactive as possible. The reason that you actually see chairs right at the edge of this platform is that we don't actually believe in a conventional stage and audience separation. We want to bridge the emotional distances between all of us, and that's the whole point of this festival. For any of you who may not know me, just a little bit of an introduction. My name is Barkha Dutt. I'm a journalist. I've been a journalist for 30 years. When I was in my 20s, who's in their 20s here? Raise your hand. That's a lot of the hall. When I was in my 20s, my first big assignment was to report from the front lines of a war called the Kargil War between India and Pakistan. And at that time, I guess many of you would have seen a movie called Sher Shah. Raise your hands if you have. Sher Shah was made on the life of a soldier called Vikram Batra. And Vikram Batra was known for one phrase. Anyone knows what the phrase was? Ye dil mange more. And the story behind that phrase is, when I was at the front line as a young reporter, I was 26 and he was 24. And most of the soldiers I met were in their early 20s. And I would ask them, aren't you scared? I would ask them, aren't you scared? And they thought that was such a peculiar question to ask of a soldier. And one of them, and we didn't know at that time that he was going to become the legend that he was, Sher Shah was his code name, he threw his head back and he had this twinkle in his eyes and he laughed and he said, "Arey, kya baat kar rahi hai? He, what are you asking? Ye dil mange more." the heart wants more. Yeah? And at that time, this was a Pepsi slogan, which, because of that interview that I had the honor and privilege to conduct, it became a national motto. I grew up as the daughter of a journalist who was India's first woman to report a war. My mother's name was Parv Dutt, and when she began in journalism, she was 19 and she walked into the offices of the Hindustan Times and she said, I want a job. And they said, we don't hire women in the newsroom. And she said, what can I do here? And they said, well, you can cover the flower show in the city. And she said, I'll take what you give me. And she rose to become the head of the bureau. And then in 1965, when a war broke out between India and Pakistan and she'd established herself, she said, let me go and cover this war. They said, are you crazy? You're not sending a woman to the war front. She said, okay, can I take a few days off? So they gave her a few days off. She went alone. She had a cousin in the army and she covered that war. She died when I was 13 years old. But the reason I share this story is I realized early on the importance of powerful female role models. Why are we here and what is We the Women about? Well, first, London is the center of the universe, isn't it? Second, there are so many people with links to India here, Indian students, but also those in the diaspora with roots and history that is linked to India. And our idea was today to celebrate the change makers of our community, those from India, but those also from here, who have done the community proud, changed it, impacted it, inspired us, altered us in some way. What is the festival about? The festival is your festival. It's not my festival, it's our festival. The festival is about community. It's about a shared space. It's about a space for celebration, but also sharing. There are sometimes painful and vulnerable stories that get told, not just on the stage, but from the audience. And we'd be grateful to you if you open up to us, because this is a safe space. It is also about inclusion. And therefore, you will see many men on our stage and delightfully many men in the audience. So a big round of applause for all the men here today. Because there can be no we the women without the men in our lives, right? And we are here to celebrate men who champion women, men as allies, but also to talk about how we bring up our boys being as critical. For those of you who are parents, you know that this is as critical as how we bring up our girls. So We the Women is going to be about community, celebration, inspiration, joy, fun, but also pain and vulnerability when it needs to be. And before I actually bring Parv back on stage, because I do want to talk to her and understand how she became this drummer girl, I encourage you all, take photographs, clap, applaud, whistle, cheer, ask for a song when a big star's on stage, and we'll see if we can get them to do a little jig for you. One only per star. I can't do more than that. So just remember, don't make impossible asks. There are mics on either side. Because it's such a big hall and it's such a full hall, if any of you have a question, we'll be asking you to come to those mics and ask your question. And for those near the stage, I'm here, and I will bring the microphone to you. So let's get this off the road, right? Thank you very much for coming here. It's going to be a brilliant day. And I want to welcome back on stage Parv Kaur, who opened this festival for us. Let's hear a louder roar of applause for this young lady here.
Thank you so much.
I'm not used to seeing you without your drum. I almost didn't recognize you.
I'm in heels.
Oh, you're in heels.
I'm used to Moje, so it's amazing. It's amazing. Thank you so much.
Okay, so how did this happen? How did you start playing the drum? Tell us a bit about yourself. Where are you from?
I'm Parv Kaur, British born, from Birmingham.
Okay.
Good old Brummie.
Yeah.
And I think the reason was no, you can't do it. And that's why I started.
Who said no, you can't do it?
I think it's more about the community. I think our Asian community, we're talking 30, I know I look 21, but this is 30 years ago when everybody said, no, you can't do this. Nahi changa lagda, you can't go on stage, you can't dance around.
Kyun nahi changa lagda?
I think it was like a taboo. It's such a male-dominating industry itself.
Yeah.
There's only men in the venue.
Come, why don't you sit? Why are we standing? Yeah. Yeah. Go for it.
And I think
so who are these people who were saying mat karo ji?
You got to understand, in the Bhangra industry, it was very male-dominating. So in the 80s, 60s especially, when I was growing up in the 80s, it was just Bhangra bands, and it was just male. And I think it was only that the men went to the wedding, so no women. It was men. The men were caterers, the cameraman was caterers. And I think my father, who is in the Guinness Book of Records for starting Bhangra music in the UK.
Fab. Yeah.
And I was his little daughter hiding behind the kitchen curtains, watching them rehearse. And I was like, I want to go. And he's like, oh, what are you going to do there? I said, I'll just play anything. I'll play the tambourine. And then I realized when I was going to these Bhangra shows, going to these weddings, the only person that was up front was the singer and the dhol player. Tambourine wale, the piche si dholki wale, tambourine, keyboard. I learned every instrument, then realized the only person up front is the singer. I can't sing. So the singer and the dholi. So I thought, you know what? I'm going to grab that doll. And I can't believe that 30 years ago, little old me, 8 years old, on a platform, big Bhangra throw, just playing the doll in the back, and that's where the
But did you teach yourself?
So I think because the band members, Otaye, Chache, you know, they're all related, it's kind of like a family group. And I was secretly watching them, like really intensely, learning the beats, going home, revising, koi parai nahi karni si, just dol and dolki. And then I realized, actually, I do want to be like them. He was like, oh, you won't be interested. I actually thought, nah, I'm not going to be interested. But I can't believe I'm here.
Yeah.
I can't believe it. So thank you so much.
Once you started playing, did the family come around? Did the community come around?
No.
Or were they still judgy?
No, it was very difficult that I knew I was talented, my own family knew I'm talented, but people just looked at me and thought, nah, she's not talented. She won't even be able to hold it.
They would actually say that
They would actually say that. And I was really struggling to cope with that, to be honest. I was only young. And even though my dad was like, oh, mera pot aaja, like, you know, it was like a loving family.
Yeah.
When I went in the outside world, it was brutal. I really felt alone, and then I started my own group in 1999 called Eternal Tal.
Eternal Tal?
Eternal Tal. So I started my own female group. Dad wasn't happy.
All-female group?
All-female group. In some cultures in the UK, you can only have restricted female in one sense and males in the other. So we used to hire males. But predominantly, we were a female band. And I had to secretly train and secretly do these gigs because nobody...
So you had to hide and play your dhol?
I used to hide my dhol in my friend's garage. Wow. I used to go on the bus. I used to pretend it was a school bag. My mom used to say, oh, the bada bag, I'm like, Hanji, mother, it's a big day today. But I used to secretly just do my, you know, prom, opening of a school event. I just loved the sound of it. It's becoming part of me without realizing it. And I just had to continue. I just had to.
So here's what I'm going to ask you. Having got to Eternal Tal, what would you say to young girls here? And before you answer that question, are there young girls here who have a dream that is being held back by extended family, neighbors, Dadaji, Chachaji, anyone? Or you can all do what you want to? Can you all do what you want to? Okay, here's the question. Show me your hand if there's a dream you have that you can't pursue. Whoever's stopping you. Anybody? 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 Someone, where? Here's a young girl. Come on, you're young enough to jump on stage. That is our youngest, possibly, participant here. What is your name?
Advita.
And how old are you?
I'm 9 years old.
And what is your dream?
I want to become an IS officer.
An Indian Administrative Service officer. And who is saying no?
My old friend at school.
Your friend at school is saying no? Why is he or she saying no?
They said it's too impossible.
Ah. And what did you say?
I said I just want to follow my dream and I'll let no one stop me.
I need you to go and give this young woman a hug for me. Can you do that? Because she's the older version that represents that nothing is impossible. And she's the younger girl who told her friend that nothing is impossible. Can we have a big round of applause for her? Okay, thank you. So, Parv, may you keep marching to the sound of your own beats. May all your dreams come true. May you answer every no in your life with the way you have with music. Today, we will be honoring and celebrating change makers, and the whole spirit of this festival is that sometimes you'll see really famous people on this stage honoring others whom you may not know as well, but today you will get to know them. So to honor Parv Kaur, but also to welcome our first superstar speaker, put your hands together for Rashmika Mandanna. Let's give it up louder. Let Rashmika feel the love. Hello. So good to see you. Come on here. Can I request both the lovely ladies to come here in the middle of the stage? So first, it is Rashmika's first ever trip to London. And I am not hearing a loud enough welcome.